And there's her goat and her house. I'm gonna go and see her in a bit. But I wanted to show you guys, and she wanted to show you guys her babies. She got a horse and she's got a goat. There's her babies. There's her baby horse. There's her baby goatie. Hi, sweethearts. Hello. Hi. Oh, hi. Hi, sweetie. Hello. Hi, sweet cakes. Hello, sweet cakes. Hi. Hi, you. Hi. Hello. And there's a horsey. Hi, horsey. Hi, bud. So cute. There's a baby goat. Hi, baby goatie. Hi, baby goatie. And there's horsey. Hi, horsey. Hi, bud. So cute. Okay, bye-bye. Hi, sweetheart. Hello. Where'd you go? Bye-bye, horsey. You coming up to see me? No? Okay, bye-bye. So cute. Okay, let's go see the lady of the hour. Let's go and see if she's gonna be here. And see if she wants to do an interview. But whatever time we have left.
This is my doctoral dissertation.
Oh, okay. You want to show that on camera?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was moving the camera away because I didn't know if you want to show it on camera.
Yeah, I don't. You're the logistics person. I'm the one that's legs don't work.
Hi. Hi, kitty. Oh, you are so cute.
Tune, American Domestic, and
a little cute fat head.
And
yeah, a little cutie.
Sphinx. You know the hairless ones?
Oh yeah, is that what they got?
Well, she's 15, and the Sphinx is starting to come out in her face because she's
really
like
cute
a
though.
spot.
She is so cute. She's a really cutie, yeah. She's a really cute
I
cutie.
have a DNA test I sent in for her. And the bet with me is that she's Siamese, and then yeah, it's just going to be ad lib. I get to introduce myself. Oh, hi. I'm Kellogg Patton, PhD, Crazy Flamingo Lady on Amazon. And today I'm going to just talk ad lib, brutally honest. This is my book, PTSD, Pissed Off to Some Degree. And it's not a book that you can pick up and read from chapter 1 to chapter 17. What my friend Shane does when he's reading it, he's the camera guy, is that he finds one of the colored pictures and reads the text and that chapter around the picture, describing the picture. Like one of the titles is The Mechanics of Eating Behavior. And that's where I talk about, well, one of my personalities, the food addict, talks about stories about dumpster diving in your own kitchen. In the 70s, you could eat Pillsbury sliced and baked sugar cookie dough raw. And when I was growing up with my grandmother in Scotts Valley out of Santa Cruz in the 50s, she would make a cake for the oven, but she would also make a cake for the 10 cousins that were there to lick the batters and everything like that. So eating raw things. And in those days, you could eat the raw hamburger. but that was in the 50s. But anyway, I just wanted to go over the back of the book is a montage of pictures of basically my life with me in the middle. And a montage is like a collection of something that tells a story in my head. You can check the dictionary, montage. This picture up here in the upper right corner is a picture of my mother, Ursula Brown, and my son, who's now 42 in 2025, but he was 12, I think, in that picture. And then me, and this is at the Tucson airport when my son Ian was living in Phoenix with his dad and his stepmother and his stepbrothers at Luke Air Force Base. My ex was a maintenance officer in the Air Force, and I was in Tucson with my mom and her companion Alice. They were together 35 years, pure friendship, female companionship. It was just a wonderful relationship. But anyway, I would either drive up to Phoenix to get Ian and drive back in my 71 Volkswagen camper van named Ramsey. That was his name. He had a 2-liter Porsche engine in him. And, when you pull up to a red light and you see the car in front of you, you're like, oh, I don't want to be behind this person. So you get in the other lane. And we had a hot rod mama somewhere in my personality because she took off at the red lights with the green light and just went, meow, like this. But anyway, I'd fly Ian from Phoenix to Tucson on America West, and we just spend like a week at my house, and Ian would learn that there was life beyond his control freak father. And he learned to skinny dip in my mom's pool. He learned to write his name in the snow when he was peeing. I think everybody should learn to do that. And he just enjoyed being himself. And he could do whatever. And my grandfather, I was a wrangler at his ranch in Tucson, and Ian learned to ride. He got on one of our horses and just was like, okay, see you later, like this. But now my grandson, this is my grandson Jacob, and these are his goggles. I think he was riding an ATV or something like that. And that's Jacob. And I'm going to do a shout out to Jacob because his birthday is June 27th. And I'm passing on my history and my military career onto Jacob. So I want to go in to this. When I was deployed in 91, and this is in the first couple of in the sample copy on Amazon, what I'm telling you now. I was a office manager at Cactus Cash Register Company, divorced, but I was Air National Guard. What was I? Oh, I was enlisted then. I can't, I've had 7 concussions in 73 years, and I can't remember what I just said. I can't remember what I told you, but I know the story's in there somewhere. And my brain is learning to talk to my mouth so my mouth can voice what we're thinking about. And let me tell you, PTSD does not go away. It's a lifetime commitment to craziness. But I'm medicated. Everything that in today's political world, everything that Trump is doing as a narcissist and everything. In 2004, I had a major meltdown when I was a civil service worker at Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas. And they sent me to the mental health clinic. And I was diagnosed with about 10 different mental health disorders. Narcissism, it's in, I can't remember what page it's on in here, but about 10, the big one was borderline behavior something. Turns out to be Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It's called dissociative amnesia depersonalization disorder. So basically my whole life I spent mentally sitting in an IMAX theater, and the movie on the screen was in my mind's eye, and it was everything that I was doing, like talking to you now, but for 73 years. And I watched my videos on Flying Flamingo Refuge on YouTube, and I know that's me on stage. And I know I'm telling family secrets. I didn't tell my ex-husband that I wrote the book, and I couldn't publish the book until my stepmother passed away. And so I could give the truth out there in the book. And the book is in your face, brutally honest. I don't give a shit if I insult anybody. You know, yeah. Oh, and I had a friend that couldn't come to the pub to watch my comic routine. Well, I just stood on stage and talked about what pisses me off, because she was one of those in the 70s we would call her a Jesus freak. You know, have you heard the word of the Lord today? You know, like this. And the Hare Krishna in the 70s. I was in San Diego State in 71 through 72, and I got my dislike, but not dislike, just, yeah. But she told me, she said, I can't come watch you. And I said, why? She basically found out that I was a landscaper, and the museum needed somebody to design the landscaping around the museum. And I was telling about the general. Okay, I remembered. Anyway, we're all out working. So when you drive by a construction site, picture it in your head like this. And the general, you could tell it was the general because his staff car had a white roof on it. It's the military. You just learn to accept things like that. And so it said, everybody grab a shovel. Grab a shovel, and everybody's looking around for a shovel and lean on it. So here we are. The people on the equipment didn't do that, but those of us who were, my job was, I think it was a Guineas, it's called a Guineas something, where when the road grader is coming down and he's keeping a steady, smooth path, and there are stakes in the ground. My job was to pick up, I can't remember. Let's just say that I can't remember. I can't remember what they're called or anything like that. But anyway, everybody's leaning on their shovel, right? So a couple hours later, the General Scott comes down with the other director of the museum and says, he was so impressed with the work you're doing, because here we're deployed reservists during Desert Storm, because the Red Horse unit at Robbins was deployed to the Middle East. And the Red Horse is the active duty, they go everywhere with their machines, and the general was so impressed with you. Oh, you look so busy out there in the parking lot. And we all giggled because we were leaning on shovels. So anyway, back to General Scott. So General Scott kind of fell in love with me in an enamored way. And he gave me a copy of his book. I have yet to read it. But I found it when I was cleaning up something the other day, and I went, I need to give this to my grandson Jacob, because it's my history, and I write about it in the book. I don't know if I mentioned General Scott in there. I can't remember what I wrote. But in the front is an inscription, and it reads, "To my special friend Kellogg Patton, best wishes always, because you make me feel good to know you." And then it's Bob Scott, and then the official signature is down here, Robert Lee Scott, November 27th, 1991. So I'm giving this to my grandson, and I hope he understands that this book, and there's a movie that was made about it, and that's my history, so he knows that Grandma JJ Enam was loved by full-star brigadier general, one-star general at the anyway, yeah. And this is for my grandson's 11th birthday on June 27th. This is a little bit of goat wool. Now I know about sheep's wool and you know, llama and all this and everything, but I have a Norwegian miniature goat, and he had a winter coat. I mean, he has a winter coat. He's a goat, but when spring rolls around, and he shed, you know, cats shed, everybody sheds, horses shed their winter coat and everything. This goat shed goat wool. I mean, literally goat wool. And so this is some goat wool. I'm not going to open. Anyway, it's about this much, and I rolled it up so he wouldn't eat it. I was cutting something off my horse's fly mask and some Velcro, because in the summertime the horses wear fly masks because the flies will get in the eyes of the horses and lay their eggs, and it can cause an infection and sometimes kill a horse. So everybody wears a mask. So I was out cutting the extra Velcro strap like this. So I'm cutting with my fingers, with my shaky hands. I'm cutting the first strap, and I was holding it in my right hand, and the goat is down here. We feed him animal crackers because the little girls that raised him trained him with animal crackers. And so I'm holding a piece of Velcro in my right hand and getting the scissors to cut the other strap. And the goat came up and took the Velcro from my hand and ate it. But I found it later because I think he realized that Velcro and goats, I know goats will eat anything, but not that. So anyway, Jacob's birthday present is this and this, but also included with the book is a picture of me and General Scott. And I look at this picture and I know that's me, but I'm like, oh my God, Kellogg, you're dressed, you're wearing a dress and a slimy, nice, beautiful purple shirt, and you know, I look like a woman in this picture, but I found out in putting the book together that I do have gender identity issues. And I was coming out of the hardware store in Chino Valley the other day, and just these three women were there. They were my age, and they just had they reminded me of Sierra Club members, you know. They just nice bright eyes and just like this. And I just made a comment like, oh, the beautiful people of Chino Valley, thank you, you know, like this. And the lady looked at me and she said, are you gay? Just like that. And I said, because I have it in here, I said, well, I had gender identity issues when I wrote this book. And then I handed her the card and, you know, did my spiel about the book and everything like that. But I got to thinking about that, and I'm not in a closet, okay? I'm in an office. But I have had gender identity issues because I used to joke that I had more testosterone than anybody else, but I didn't know it was one of the chromosomes or something. But yeah, so I don't know if I'm gay or not. I know that I've solved my problems with men by writing the book. A woman without a man is like a fish without a bicycle, okay? You'll learn about it in the book. But anyway, this is going to my grandson, Jacob, and it says, Kellogg and General Scott, 1998, like this. Because when I left, when I went back to Tucson after my deployment was over, I went back to Tucson and they had taken me out of heavy equipment and put me in plumbing. Well, I don't deal in other people's shit, okay? So I called a friend of mine, a chief master sergeant at Robbins, and said, do you have any jobs? And he said yes. And so my mom wanted to see her friend in Dallas, and so I packed up my 77 old Delta 88 with a 403 V8. And I think I put, Flowmaster pipes on it. Yeah, it was the hot rod mama in me coming out. But anyway, I packed him up, and Mom and I drove cross country from Tucson to Georgia. And there's one picture in the book of my sister and me with, it's in the chapter on the mechanics of eating behavior. It's a picture of my sister Kit and me with my with my 96 Chevy Caprice Classic with decals of an American flag. That was the ego. That was Kellogg. She's the, yeah. And this is a picture of me. It says on the back, this is Kellogg Mattingly, which is Jacob's last name, circa, I don't know, circa 19, Ian was born in 1983. So anyway, I'm sending this to Jacob because he's a Mattingly, and I was a Mattingly, and my master's degree from Michigan State says Kellogg Patton Mattingly, and I kept that name because when I got divorced, all I had to do was cross out the Mattingly, and I was still Kellogg Patton, which I got divorced, and that's exactly what I did. But anyway, it's me as a second lieutenant. I don't know, I can't tell, but the name tag says Mattingly, and check out the hairstyle. Can you see? I'm shaking. But can you see it okay? That's the, it was in the 80s. There was an ice skater, and everybody had their hair, I can't remember her name. It wasn't the one that, yeah, anyway. Anyway, that's me. So that's going to Jacob to let him know that I was a Mattingly. Okay, that's his birthday present, and what dissertation that Kelly wrote that was written by one of my personalities, Kelly, for the PhD in holistic nutrition. So if you want to come in here and look at the degree right there. This is my I Love Me wall. All military people that I grew up in the military, that I knew in the military, when you retire, you have an I Love Me wall. Well, this is my I Love Me room. So that's my PhD, but this was the original book. It was written in book form with all the chapters and everything, and it had to be triple spaced for the school. And it's registered in the Library of Congress, and out of a let's see, PhD, highest honors. Yeah, out of 4.0, my PhD program. Yeah, well, most of them. Yeah, the Air Force sent me to tech schools, and I always got honor grad. The one funny thing about all of these, here, come on in. Okay, this is the tour. This is my high school diploma from South High School in 1969. This is my bachelor's degree that I got in 1976 when I was challenged, when I wanted to be a Marine, And my brother said, no, you can't be a Marine because the Air Force is the only service not represented in the family. So I had to join the Air Force. And then when I got in, my demeanor was such that everybody said I should have been a Marine. But anyway, I got that. Okay, next was my husband and I left Langley Air Force Base when Ian was about 6 weeks old, and we flew to Tokyo down and then over to Okinawa, Japan at Kadena Air Base, and I was stationed there as a dependent wife, but I was also an Air Force officer. I was a recruiter for the Air Force Academy. So my 2-week annual tour, I got to fly back to Colorado Springs without anybody. No, I took Ian with me on one of them, and went to tech school to learn how to recruit. So anyway, and I got it from Michigan State because I didn't want to take the GRE, the graduate record exam. So I went to the education office at Kadena, and I stuck my head in the office door and said, do you require the GRE? Well, yes, said Oklahoma. Well, yes, said USC. Well, of course, said University of Maryland. Well, no, said Michigan State University. So I stepped into their office and I said, what can I get a degree in? And she listed a few things, and I said, community service, what's that? And she said, helping people. Okay. And I said, great. So I got a master's degree in community service, and with a minor in nutrition. And then then I divorced my husband and went back to Tucson, and I had a master's degree, a bachelor's degree. I was a Nautilus instructor for 10 years. I was a bodybuilder, a weightlifter, a competitive swimmer. I was built. I have a picture of me 8 months pregnant, built. And one day I was home, still married, in Poquoson, which is outside of Hampton Newport News in Virginia, Langley Air Force Base. And I was admiring my muscles in the mirror, like this. And I'm doing this. And on the back of the book, by the way, is a picture of me doing exactly that. That's me at we had a simulated war with North Korea as an air traffic, whatever my job was. And nobody ever reads the reserve bulletin they send out. We're doing a 2-week annual tour to Eglin Air Force Base, and we're going to do simulated. Your job as a heavy equipment operator was, I can't say it, rapid runway repair. But my body doesn't say that. It says rapid one-way repair. So it's triple R, where our job was to go in and fix the runways in record time so that the planes could keep landing. And they said, no, we're going to do the decontamination because you got nuked or, whatever. And we're going to go through the whole decon, the shuffle box and all this. So you better wear skivvies because we're going to take you all the way down to your skivvies. Well, nobody reads the bulletin except Kellogg. And I read the bulletin and I said, okay. So I put on my Speedo. And if you look in the picture, you can see I have my Speedo, my steel pot helmet on, my boots, and my work socks. Okay? And the guys at the end of the course were just, get a picture of that Kellogg pose, because they knew I was bodybuilding. And so I just did one of these. And they took the picture. And when I was putting the book together, one of my editors said, oh, you can't put that on the book. It doesn't go on the back. I said, it's my book. And I said, and this is a montage of me. but there's no description in the book of anything describing who's who on the back. So that's me. This was a picture of me when I was a master's swim coach. Okay. When I got divorced, I had all this education, and it was in the early 80s, and fitness and Canyon Ranch and, all these health spas and everything. Well, I went to Canyon Ranch. It was the end of Tanque Verde Road in Tucson, and applying for a job. And, credentials out the wazoo, right? Okay. First thing the lady said, oh, and she looked at my resume. Oh, okay. She looked up and she said, can you type? And I went, no, sorry. So I used the GI Bill again, and I went to Tucson College of Business and got a vocational diploma with honors in accounting management. I also took an H&R Block course, so now 50 years later when I do TurboTax, I know what I'm doing, like this. So from not knowing how to type, I put in for a trainer at a local club, fitness place, and the guys are reading my resume, and I left the master's degree off of my resume because it's intimidating. Okay, you want to be just, and in the book I talk about how I didn't know you were supposed to work, but I'm not going to go into that because you can read it in the book when you put it in your cart on Amazon. So they're looking at my resume, and I was totally qualified to be a trainer and everything. And they said, well, where'd you get your nutrition experience? And I went, oh shit, I didn't put my master's degree on the resume. I said, well, I left it off, but I do have a master's degree from Michigan State in community service and nutrition. Oh, well, I didn't get that job. You know what job I got? I met a very nice man who fell madly in love with me. He was married, but he was a very important person in the gun world in Tucson in the 80s. His name was, I can't remember. Oh, I can't remember his name. But we had a lovely extramarital affair in my Volkswagen camper. Bob somebody. Anyway, I got a job through one of the job placement centers, where you go and they have a list and, oh, we can pay you $10 an hour. I got $10 an hour to be a hostess at a party in the foothills in Tucson for a it wasn't about mitzvah, it was for Hanukkah around Christmas time. I was serving drinks and everything, but I was also scrounging the turkey carcasses because I collected the turkey carcasses because there's so much meat left on them when people are done, and the hostess let me take the turkey carcasses home. I did that throughout my career. But anyway, Bob, that was his name. Bob said, if you had $500, what would you want? Not paying your bills. I was, what is it? He was my sugar daddy or something like that, whatever, I don't know. But anyway, I said, $500? He said, yes, not paying your bills, not anything. I said, I want a Santa suit. I said, I don't want a Santa suit that is cheap. I want a Santa suit that looks like it's real. And he said, no problem, like this. And in the book, there's a picture of me in my Santa suit working at Kroger when Santa was the one that got everybody out of the store when they closed for Christmas. And I think there's also a story in there about when I had the Santa suit, and I went to the church because I was a floral manager at Kroger, and I would do the flower arrangements for the Lutheran church, Methodist, for the Methodist church that all of the managers and half the staff at that Kroger go to. So I would do the floral arrangements for the dais in the chapel, and that's what got me to go to church, because I went to admire my own arrangements. But anyway, I went to church in my Santa suit, and I sat with my friends, and they're all, we're just doing friendly stuff. And the minister comes over, and she says, "Kellogg, come with me." And, Mr. Paca, my manager, it wasn't my produce manager because he was a Jehovah's Witness and he didn't go to Methodist churches. But anyway, she pulled me aside and she said, "I want you to leave." I said, "What?" And she said, "Santa Claus is a sacrilegious to the spirit of Christmas." And I went, "Huh?" She said, "Pack up and go." And so I went, and I walked out the door of the chapel, and it was snowing in Georgia, and in tears, and I was like, "What the F?" Like this. And Santa, to me, when I put on the Santa suit, oh my God, I had a job at $10 an hour walking around the indoor swap meet in Tucson in the holidays and handing out candy canes. And the little girls, "Mommy, it's Santa and it's a girl," like this. And the little boys are like, "Santa's not a girl," like this. And I said, "Why not?" And this is in the early 80s, and or middle 80s, somewhere in there. And then they said, "Well, how come your voice is so high?" And I said, "Global warming." This was in the 80s. I said, "Global warming changes your voice up there in the North Pole." I could make up all these stories. Also, I took I put on my Santa suit and I went and stood on the median at Kolb and Broadway in Tucson after Thanksgiving with a big sign that says, "Winter visitor needs work." And that's how I got the job at the indoor swap meet. I didn't want it for money. I got bottles of water, like this. But anyway, there's a picture of me in my Santa suit in the book. And then years later, in 2005, this was me. Oh, I'm falling backwards. Whew, that was a dizzy spell. And that's me. That's my mom, Ursula Brown. And that's me as my Santa. And this was taken at the Unitarian Church in Prescott, Arizona, for the holidays. And I think last time I talked about my brothers, how they told me I had to join the Air Force because it was the only service not represented in the family. Well, this is a picture of them. Can you see that okay? Mm-hmm. Okay. That's my brother Freddie. That's my sister Ellicott, or Kit. That in the back is my brother Scotty. And that's my mom. And that's me with curly hair. And a sign my brothers gave me that says, "I are a graduate." And that's my brother Jimmy right there. And I talk about them in my book, Marine Corps, Navy, Army, and then me, Air Force. Stay. Okay. So, the Tucson College of Business, I can type now, by the way, except my shaking disorder. It's lining up the mouse is really hard. In my swimming career in 1988, This is my Presidential Sports Award for Kellogg Patton, who has, through regular participation in sport, made a commitment to the active life. My congratulations to you on your dedication and determination in swimming, December 1988, signed by Ronald Reagan. That is a prize for me. And then that running out of juice.
There we go. Got it.
Oh, okay. And yeah, okay. And so when I came back from deployed to, anyway, somewhere in my career, I started out swimming 4,700 yards when I was 48 and 49 and, on up until 50. And when I turned 50, I swam 5,000 yards straight. And with my team, I had a Air Force Masters swim team. I also specialized in the 200 backstroke and oh God, my legs don't work. And this picture down here of me in my purple Speedo with my scuba goggles, because when my brothers taught me to swim, they didn't teach me to breathe. And so scuba goggles, those little tiny Speedo, little tiny goggles that you have on your eyes were not for claustrophobic people. So I wore scuba goggles. This is at Portland, 1994 Masters Swim Championships in Portland, Oregon. I swam 5 events and finished all of them. I did the 200, that would be the, I can't remember. Anyway, we put together a swim book. It's a monument to that meet in Portland, and I found it cleaning up my shelf. You can take a picture of my shelf over there. I found it cleaning up my shelf. And it's wonderful to find these things because with my amnesia and my dual personalities, I don't remember any of this. I can't recall it at all. And it's kind of creepy, but it's weird, crazy, and strange at the same time to read my book because it's written by my 2 personalities that lived my life. And I learned more about myself putting the book together. I learned that I have a gender identity issue. And when those ladies said, "Are you gay?" I said, "Probably, but it doesn't matter to you, does it?" Like this. I don't tell my sister. But anyway, and then this is a picture of my son when he was 16, and that's me in full dress blues coming to the camera when I retired. And they had a big ceremony and everything, and I was on stage, and when I retired, I was a tech sergeant, E6. Yeah, E6. But my highest rank held was a captain. So they had to give me a present, or, I didn't get a gold watch or anything like that. But just a minute, I'll come to you. But they discharged me as an enlisted person and then recommissioned me. Oh, somebody pooped in the closet. Oh, isn't that nice? And then recommissioned me on stage. So I had to take the oath of office again. And this is my dress blues uniform. I try it on every year on my birthday. And in one of my videos on Flying Flamingo Refuge on YouTube, you can see me trying on my uniform and my stories about trying it on. But these are all my badges for maintenance and air traffic control and all my ribbons. And when you see military members, not Trumpism people, those are great people, real military members like General Scott and General Patton and all the big wigs that take their military service seriously. We always, my brothers, my uncles, my mother's brothers, always called it fruit salad. So you look at the uniforms and you see their fruit salad like that. So that's my swimming award. Oh, this one up here, this is Community College of the Air Force. This is the giggle one. The Commander of Education and Training Command, I can't read it, by virtue of yada 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 by law and the recommendation of the college, something under, what is it? Oh, does hereby confer on Kellogg Patton the degree of Associate in Applied Science for Airframe Repair Technology, sheet metal, with all the rights and privileges pertaining to on the 7th day of January 1997. And this is a picture of me in my dress blue uniform accepting that degree. Now, the interesting thing about the sheet metal degree is Kellogg, the stronger personality, got it. She went to the training school 14 weeks. She took all the tests. They have tests every week in military training schools, at least they did in my career. And she took all the tests. And with her, I described this in the book about my photographic memory and how I would go in and take the test when I was on active duty as a controller out of a 300 question test bank. And that's Diz. That's Kitten. I'm doing a DNA test on Kitten. She's 5 years old. That's Miss Diz. She's 15 years old. And the DNA test showed that she's Munchkin, Maine Coon, Sphinx, the hairless, ugly cats, and American domestic cat. So Kitten has beautiful blue eyes and a voice on her. So I think she's Russian blue and Siamese. So anyway, those are my cats. Where was I? Sheet metal. Okay, so a 14-week school, and you test every week, and the final day, there's like a comprehensive final exam before you're officially an amateur. What is it? It's not journeyman. What's the first level? The sheet metal mechanic. And I missed one question on the final test. One frigging question in a 14-week school. Okay? One question. And I don't remember what the question was. I have no earthly idea what the question was. But the Air Training Command had never had anybody ace a course before. 14 weeks and everything. And somewhere in the garage are a bunch of paintbrushes in a mug they gave me commemorating this event. To Tech Sergeant Kellogg Patton for completing yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. But the funny part about this is, as a sheet metal mechanic, I made this, okay? I made this. It's like 4 by whatever. It's just a box, and you take your flat metal and you make it. This was like one of the exams on the in the school. I have no idea how to use tools. Let's go into the garage. It's a wrap. It's a python that represents recovery, because every time a snake sheds its skin, it becomes a new snake. And every time I face one of my homicidal tendencies, as documented in my YouTube channel and in my book, I become a much better person for society. So if I get depressed, I come and sit in my car in the garage. Oh, the tool set. This is a tool set, Craftsman, with the drawers that close by themselves. Okay, and all of these tools and everything, see? All of this. Foamfit.com had, when I was a sheet metal mechanic in the reserves and civil service, we had like all these tools, okay? I have no earthly idea how to use any of these tools, okay? Yet I have a degree in sheet metal. I don't remember a goddamn thing about the class. I remember the dessert pizzas at Pizza Hut at lunch. I remember it was in Nashville, Tennessee, Millington Naval Base. Anyway, all the sockets and everything, all Craftsman. All these are Craftsman tools, and all the mallets and everything. I do know how to use the tweezers and the pliers and all that, but I have no earthly idea. Okay, none. That's the amnesia. That's the amnesia, and the thing. And this is, this is. I was a member of the '90s club, Air Force Reserve '90s club, as a 15151 job. Don't ask me what it was. I don't know. To Staff Sergeant Kellogg Patton. That's the weenie dingy mug they gave me. No watch, no blanket, no nothing. And this is my garage. And it's my garage, and I don't have anybody telling me I can't do anything. So I painted the walls. And if you put on a pair of 3D glasses, you can see the colors and everything jump out at you. And that's another video, because I have do we have time for my 5x6 foot penguin painting? Do we? Okay, let's leave the garage. The only pet I could have in college, through all the colleges I went to get my degrees, was a snake. So in 1972, I had a 4-foot gopher snake. Her name was Vanessa. And she was so wonderful. She rode my bicycle in Los Gatos, and she would wrap herself around the handlebars. And I would go shopping at Safeway and put her in the bottom of my backpack. And I think I have that in the book. This is a 5x6. This is my healing room. I gotta turn on the sexy light. There. That's my 10-foot tall LED palm tree. This is a Megan massage bed here that was acting up. Anyway, this is a 5x6 foot painting. It fit perfectly in the window frame of the master bedroom here, which you can see I used for the cats. And my partner Charles, stay there. My partner Charles refers to my flamingo obsession as penguins. So I got this penguin from Amazon, cut out cardboard, and I put it in his shower. Okay, now we don't live together. We're a married couple with no benefits. The only contact we've had is when we shook hands on a bet last week, because he hid something that I couldn't find, and then we bet ribs, and he won because he knew where it was. I didn't know where it was. Like this. So anyway, I had this canvas, and he took this, and never give a man your garage door opener or tell him what the code is. Okay. He traced the penguin on this canvas And I said, he didn't ask me what I would had planned for the canvas, but I said, okay. He said, paint one of them the way it's supposed to look. And that's the one right there in the middle with the silver. He said, and then just paint the other ones whatever you want, like this. And if you notice the brush strokes, it's all acrylic. And for the brush strokes, with my shaking disorder, I backed up to the canvas and I just held onto the brush like this, and my hand went to town. So you have to have essential tremors to paint abstract like this, okay? Then I quilted. I was quilting at the time, and I took the foam board and quilted palm trees. Palm trees are very important to me. Palm trees and sailing. I didn't put that in the book, but one of the first courses I took in college in 1970 was a sailing class in a little sailboat on some lake in San Jose, and it just invigorated me. And so throughout my life, like when I lived in Santa Barbara, I was crew on a racing team sailing. And boy, let me tell you, when that wind hits those sails and you heel out over and you can feel, and it's just so, and here it is 60 years later. It's so much better than sex, I'll tell you. It's so much better. But anyway, I quilted the palm trees with various fabrics that I had. And if you ever see it up close, by the way, it's for sale. I think the price on it is $2,500, which is fine. But there's marijuana up there in the green part. There's kiwi, there's Brussels sprouts, all the green fabrics, and then the tan over here. The other paintings are when I had my breakdown in 2004 and moved to Tucson, moved to Prescott because Mom said, I have Parkinson's, I can't live alone, when can you be here? 14 hours later, I showed up. All these paintings came out of my head, and Kelly just turned into this abstract artist. And you can paint in 3D, and when you see a painting and it's abstract, as an artist, you look at the person when they say, what is that? And you say, what do you see? What do you see in this? And they're like, oh, so abstract is how you feel about what you see. I don't, Picasso, forget about all those guys, like this. But I also, this represents my air traffic controlling, where these are all the airwaves. And this is the joy that I felt when I got off scope, because I hated the job, didn't understand it. I didn't understand the dynamics. It's in the book. And here it is 60 years later. I had this aha moment. I went, oh, I understand how you have a target here and you want to come in behind it and shoot its ass out of the sky. And in going through my stuff, I found little drawings that I did of the actual attack and these scenarios. And here I am 60 years later going, I understand it. And I have the badge on my uniform, and I put the badge on my dashboard. And now that the book is printed, I don't have the horror stories. The horror stories of controlling and the sexual harassment is in the book. And now that it's out there, I got no voices in my head. So if you have those little voices in your head talking to you and everything, those are your addictions. And I'm a 28 year recovering addict. And Kellogg professed, we're addicted to everything except gambling and drugs. Well, we had an incident with Google Play, and we are only not addicted to drugs. Okay. But I'm allergic to THC, and I found that out the hard way, and that's another story.